Toucan Play That Game is proudly sponsored by NiceGameShop.com, the place to go for rare and unusual Asian games. Hi, I'm Michael. Take a seat and I'll tell you about Pandemic Legacy from Z-Man Games. Now, this obviously is going to sound very familiar to many of you out there because Pandemic is a very well known, very well liked game. In fact, it's my favourite co-op game of all time. Legacy adds an almost campaign aspect to that. And that's why this game has two designers. Matt Leacock, who was the original designer of Pandemic, but then he's also worked with Rob Daviau, who is the father of Legacy. Now, Legacy is much like a campaign kind of system, but it does differ, because in a campaign you'd be able to roll back, you'd be able to go backwards, things aren't permanent. That's what Legacy is. It's permanency. It's destroying cards. It's stickers going on things that you can't easily just remove. That is the difference between campaign and Legacy, really. So what do I think of Pandemic Legacy? What is this Legacy? How does it work? Well, the game is very much just Pandemic. As you begin the game is split into months. So you have January, February, March, etc. So there's 12 different, in a way, kind of scenarios, if you were treating this as a campaign, that you will play through. And you can play each of these twice. If you fail, you get a second chance to do it. If you fail again, you move on to the next one. So this means that you'll play between 12 and 24 games limited. That is it. Yes, you can kind of keep playing after the campaign in a quite sort of normal Pandemic version, but you really wouldn't want to. And I can't really say more than that without being spoilery, but I would much rather, having completed this, just play normal Pandemic now. I wouldn't use this again. So it does have a limit there. And obviously that's important to note because it is much more expensive than Pandemic. It's probably twice the price, if not more, than regular Pandemic. And all you're getting in addition, really, is that legacy element, that story element. And the game starts off as normal Pandemic. Most of the components in this, as you start the game, you will be familiar with if you are familiar with Pandemic. If you're not familiar with Pandemic and this is all very confusing, you might want to go watch some videos, preferably mine, on Pandemic, and that will help clear up a lot of this. What this introduces is a running story, and it introduces surprises. So at certain points, things will happen. And the game will tell you when that is, and it will reveal new information. It could be new rules, it could be anything really. Because I'm not going to give you any kind of spoilers. You'll know it's new rules, because as you look at the rule book, there's stickers available, there's spaces for stickers for new rules to go in, and you're able to develop your characters throughout this campaign and keep them from game to game, and they get better. There's a lot going on in this, and a lot to enjoy about this, but is it worth that money? Is it a better game than Pandemic? And my opinion is this is an amazing game, but regular Pandemic is still better. I did quite enjoy the story that there is in this game. What I would have liked to see more of is, yes, the choices you make in each game of this will affect the future games, but they don't affect the story. The kind of what is going to happen, when things are going to happen, is fixed. It's going to happen. So there's not really any sense of you driving the story in this, and I think that that's a bit of a shame for what is a kind of campaigny legacy game, that you're kind of a passenger seeing the story unfold, and it's just a case of playing each game and seeing how many times you need to play them, but you're not really affecting the story. I will also say this has the same issue that Pandemic does, of the luck dependency. You can really just have no chance at all at winning because of luck of the draw. If you get epidemic after epidemic, then it completely just can wipe you out. And it can do that almost instantly. And you could have that in your first game. And unfortunately, that has permanent effects. You know, when things happen, it will permanently change the game for the better or for the worse. And that means that if you're unlucky early on in the campaign, it can have a huge impact later on in the campaign and make it so that you're going to have a much harder time of winning. I will say that it's enjoyable. I did very much like this. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I will be playing the next one. We sat and we played this and we consumed it in the same way we would a TV show, really. And that is binge watching. That's what we do with TV, me and my wife. So, you know, we sat and watched an episode and it was like, oh, what happens next? It has that the same way a TV show does. But it's not what are we going to do next? It's very much what happens next. And I would have liked to have seen maybe some more paths, deviations in the story, that your decisions would kind of affect the outcome, that you could go, you know, you've got a fork and it's like, do you go left, do you go right? And then from there you'll have a different fork and maybe they'll end up back together, maybe they don't. And that your decisions change the story, that you feel like you are those characters, that you are making an impact. That's kind of the only thing I can really criticise about this. If you like Pandemic and you want some story and basically a show to enjoy while playing Pandemic, and that's sort of what this gives you, as well as kind of like Christmas morning kind of feel as you reveal new things, new secrets. It's that anticipation. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? That brings this to life for you. If, however, you just want a good co-op game that you can just play as many times as you want, get regular Pandemic. So that's my thoughts on Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Do hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, as well as subscribing and sharing. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.